Mr. Catrada, it's really a great honor to welcome you at the residence of France on our National Day, to bestow upon you the Medal of Knight of the Legion of Honor. It is a great honor and also a great challenge to pay tribute to your exceptionally full life and to your exemplary personality in a few minutes only. Mr. Catrada, the Legion of Honor, the highest distinction in France, aims at distinguishing eminent merits. Yours really need no introduction. Your whole life has been one of courage and commitment, of patience and tolerance, of equality and justice. All your life, you have been of service to universal values that constitute the core of the South African democracy you contributed to establish, as well as that of the French Republic. You were but a child when you began your political commitment. At only 12 years old, you joined the Young Communist League of South Africa and you started resisting injustice and discrimination. Your first arrest came when you were barely 17, while you were participating in the passive resistance campaign of the South African Indian Congress. This arrest was followed by so many others, but you were not to be frightened or discouraged. Your determination was unwavering, despite the threats, despite the arbitrary detentions, despite the harassment. Together with 156 freedom fighters, you were accused of treason for a 4-year-long trial and acquitted, but the worst was yet to come. When you were finally arrested in 1963 at the headquarters of Umkhonto weZizwe on Lily's Leaf Farm in Rivonia, it was your 18th arrest on political grounds. You were sentenced to life imprisonment, and it came as a kind of relief because you were expecting a death sentence. You spent the following 26 years and 3 months in prison. 26 years and 3 months. That alone is the measure of your commitment, of your dedication to freedom and to justice, of the greatness of your sacrifice. While in prison, you were a model of dignity, a tower of strength, and a source of inspiration to many prisoners, both young and old, said Walter Sisulu. You managed to pursue your academic studies and to obtain 4 degrees. And while in prison, you also continued to face injustice and discrimination, being allowed small comforts, such as wearing long trousers, while your black companions were deprived of it. Your reaction was of revolt and disgust, and you would have shown your solidarity by giving them up, wouldn't Nelson Mandela have advised you otherwise. Because of course, Mr. Catrada, you were not alone in your fight, and you were not alone during your long ordeal. You were with your comrades of the African National Congress, Walter Sisulu, Govan Mbeki, and others. During all those years, you were the privileged friend and life companion of the great Nelson Mandela. You've known Nelson Mandela for 67 years and shared his fight for a non-racial, non-sexist, democratic South Africa. You have shared his struggle. You have shared his detention in Robben Island and Poolsmoor prison. After you were released in October 1989, and after the ANC was unbanned, you've shared his work to build a new nation and to create reconciliation and unity in a democratic South Africa. You served at the National Executive Committee of the ANC, you were elected to Parliament, and you served as President Mandela's parliamentary councillor until his retirement. The new South Africa celebrated its 20th birthday last year, and during all those years, you worked tirelessly to keep the memory and the spirit of the struggle alive. Many a French visitor, head of state or minister of the Robben Island Museum remains grateful to you for sharing your experience of this essential place of memory. Through your foundation, through numerous conferences, you continue to share your wisdom and to promote the values you dedicated your life to, and through a book as well that you have launched recently. Of course, when the people of South Africa and of the whole world mourned the loss of your iconic friend, your elder brother, Madiba, nobody better than you knew how to express the grief and emotion, the traumatic reality of his passing. Mr. Kathrada, your lifelong struggle for justice and freedom commands respect and admiration. Your example demonstrates that freedom, equality, fraternité, liberté, égalité, fraternité are not just words devoid of signification. They are an ideal able to inspire the life and dedication of great exceptional men. If you would allow me to borrow from the famous words of your great friend, they remain, I quote, an ideal for which we hope to live for and to see realized, unquote. The French Republic is proud to distinguish heroes of that ideal, like yourself. I cannot conclude without mentioning the special relationship you maintain with a part of France, not too far away from South Africa, the island of La Réunion, where you have even some cousins. You visited the island in 1998 for the 150th anniversary of the abolition of slavery, and more recently, last August, notably at the invitation of the local Muslim association, Association Musulmane de la Réunion, whose president, Mr. Hussein Ahmad, is with us today. Mr. Ahmad has actually been the initiator of today's award ceremony. And you are also honorary citizen of Le Port City, whose dockers were very active in supporting the struggle against apartheid. Mr. Kathrada, in the name of the President of the French Republic, I bestow upon you the Medal of Knight of the Legion d'Honneur.
Thank you, Madam Ambassador, Your Excellency, other members of the diplomatic corps. One of the things I learned after coming out of prison is the one sentence, all protocol observed. I'm honored and I must confess, surprised to have been selected as a recipient of this award, considering I'm just one of many, many people who took part in the struggle for democracy. I wish to thank you, Madam Ambassador, and the French government for bestowing upon us this prestigious award. I wish to begin my remarks with a flashback to the first days of my release from prison in 1989 and the beginning of my personal connection with France. The very first media person I met and befriended was a French journalist, Miss Pascale Chalet, who represented a journal called Libération. It was with her that I first returned to Robben Island after my release. As ambassador, Bastille Day has gone down in history as a struggle for justice, of sacrifice and blood. With great respect to you and the French government in accepting this prestigious award, I believe it is only fair on my part to dedicate it to the memory of those South African patriots who I regard as South Africa's Bastille heroes. They, like the martyrs of Bastille, did not survive to enjoy the fruits of democracy, and hence would naturally have been more deserving of this award. There are numerous patriots and martyrs who come to mind. I will single out 4 who I can proudly claim to have been not only my comrades but my friends. and more importantly, because of the manner in which they lost their lives. First is Ruth Slovo. Ruth, who I first met when I was 14, I literally grew up with her and under her during our political lives. A widely acknowledged journalist, politician, freedom fighter, and writer. She was a mother, wife of an equally well-known freedom fighter, advocate Joe Slovo. Because of her political activities, she was continuously harassed by the police, imprisoned without trial, and eventually forced into exile. In Mozambique, she was professor of the Eduardo Mondlane University. On a fateful day in 1982, she received a passage from the United Nations. Unknown to her, the passage had first been intercepted by the police and doctored by them. When she opened the package, it was a bomb. A bomb that exploded and killed her. Second is Vuyisile Mini, my friend, my comrade, courageous freedom fighter, and ANC activist. He was arrested by the security police for a serious political offense. While in custody, he was approached by the police to give evidence against ANC leader Wilton Nkwai, warned that if he refused to give evidence, he will hang. Vuyisile refused to give evidence and he was hanged. Next is Babla Saluji, a young rank and file activist who I regarded as my young brother. A courageous, at times accused of recklessness when plastering posters and writing slogans on the wall. With only initial secondary school education, did not affect his popularity nor his impersonation as a lawyer. A couple of months into my life sentence, we got word that Babla had been thrown off the 6th floor of the security police building and he was killed. I can still picture the dead silence in prison when his death was made known to us. Then Dotze September. Dotze September remains our closest connection with France. She became active in student politics before qualifying as a teacher. She was arrested and sentenced to 5 years imprisonment. After she was released, she experienced continuous harassment by the police. As a result, she left South Africa for London, where in 1976 she joined the ANC. In 1983, she was appointed chief representative of the ANC in Paris and adjacent countries. The office was situated at Rue de Petit, I don't know the pronunciation. 5 years later, on March 28, 1988, she was shot and killed as she was about to open the ANC office. There are songs, streets and squares in France named after her. Her blood is mixed with the soil of France. Fast forward to today, the 14th of July, 2015, we join the millions of people in France and other parts of the world in celebrating Bastille Day. This day marks the gallantry of more than the 80,000 people who stormed the Bastille prison. Today, in retrospect, I can only imagine what would have happened on the day we were sentenced in 1964. If the South African masses stormed the inappropriately named Palace of Justice to set us free, This would have been South Africa's Bastille Day. The apartheid regime, perhaps considering this as a distinct possibility, decided that the best place to keep us was Robben Island, where such an attack would not take place. Madam Ambassador, I note that the award has a provision that members convicted of a felony or a misdemeanor will be dismissed from the order. I promise you, Madam Ambassador, to behave myself to avoid this catastrophe.